first speech. I came here from Poland a couple of years ago. My family has green cards, which grants us statuses of permanent residence. And I actually one day would love to hold a federal position. And the very first and basic requirement for that is to be a U.S. citizen. So there are many immigrants in the country who aren't U.S. citizens, and I bet most of you have never actually wondered what the process is one must go through to become a citizen. So today I'll talk to you about that. I'll go through the eligibility, the basic documentation needed to be applied or included in your application, and receiving the final decision with your, and then taking the oath. So the initial process actually just consists of applying for the green cards, attending a whole bunch of interviews, and paying a whole bunch of fees. It actually takes quite a lot of time, and it takes quite a lot of time to get those green cards in front of you and have them on hand. And once you actually receive those, you are considered a permanent resident. And these are actually, the top one is mine. The picture was taken about 8 years ago, so don't laugh. Bottom one is my brother's. He wasn't old enough to get fingerprints, so he doesn't have that on there. And once you are here a certain amount of time, you might start thinking about applying for the actual citizenship. What that entails is that you need to meet certain requirements, and some of those are that you have to prove that you support USA, you support the Constitution, and you are a person of a good moral character. The last requirement is that, this is another one, this is my most recent green card as well. And the last requirement is that you are at least 18 years old and you've been living in the States for at least 5 years without leaving the country for more than 6 months per leave. And you might also be married, and if that's the case, then the age requirement drops to 3 years without leaving the country for more than 6. Then once you're eligible to apply, you will send out the application, and now we'll talk through the requirement documents. So the very first step you'll take is go to USCIS website, which is the U.S. Immigration and Citizenship Status Services. You will download the N-400 form. This is actually the very first page of that form. The entire form consists of 10 pages. It's very similar to a tax return. It asks you basic questions about your financial background, professional background, and so on. The second thing is you need to take 2 color passport style photographs and write your green card number in the back of those. And then the basic application basically consists of that, the photos, and a check for $5.95 to cover all the fees. And you may be asked to include tax returns, bank statements, and whatnot, depending on what your application looks like and what your situation is. And basically, the more documents it takes, the more expensive it's going to get. And while you wait for the decision, it might be beneficial to start studying for the test. This is actually something my girlfriend's mom got me for Christmas. It's a U.S. citizenship test. Has a whole bunch of quizzes and information. I just found that to be pretty funny when I got that. So there's that. And while waiting for this, or when you apply and wait for the decision, you just basically wait for the further instructions. So I'm going to talk to you about what happens when you receive the decision and what happens after that. So once you get, or there are 3 things that may happen. You may either get denied, you may be asked to include more documents, which is what happened to me. And once you resend that application with the necessary documents, you will most likely get accepted. And the last outcome is simply getting accepted. Once you get accepted, the USCIS will schedule you a place, specific date and time, and you'll need to get your biometrics captured and fingerprints cleared by the FBI. After that, they schedule you an interview date. You go to the interview, during which you'll be asked questions about your application, your background, basic questions like that. And you'll also take an English and civics test. And based on those 2 scores and how well your interview went, you'll either be granted the citizen status or you'll get denied. And once you get accepted, hopefully you will, you attend the ceremony and you take the oath, and then you become the citizen of the United States. So basically today I just talked through becoming what it takes or what the process is of becoming a citizen. I talked to you about the criteria which you need to meet to be eligible to apply, the documents necessary to include in your application, and receiving the final decision and taking the oath. So if you ever need to go through the process, or if you ever wondered, now you know what the steps are.